Hey everyone, it's the Shnakey, back again with another video. Happy New Year to all my subscribers and all my viewers, and hope you had a good Christmas, as I know I did, spending most of it eating sweets and chocolates and really getting nothing done at all. So I'm hoping that this tutorial is kind of going to kickstart my productivity for the new year. If you notice a good bump in my audio quality, it's because I've gotten a new microphone, and I'm hoping this is going to add some production value to my videos and hopefully just maybe bring in a few more subscribers. I don't know, maybe it will. Today's video is going to be about EA Game Face, and specifically creating game faces using EA Game Face for UFC 3, which has been something that's been requested by a lot of my subscribers and viewers. So I'm not going to hang around any longer. I'm going to make this tutorial as quick and short as possible. There's going to be two parts to it. The first half is going to be me showing you what I do on the computer end here using EA Game Face through their website. The second half is going to be me modeling and sculpting the face just to tweak it to make it look a bit more like the actual person, and that's done on the Xbox itself. So let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is open up your browser of choice. I recommend Google Chrome. It works best on Google Chrome. Whoever created Game Face really wanted to create possibly the most unuser-friendly, the worst possible interface for a piece of software. They really didn't make this user-friendly. It's full of bugs. You can experience a lot of problems with it, so just bear that in mind before you start to use it. You're going to need some patience, and it's going to take some time to get it right, and some practice as well. You're probably going to have to make a few game faces before they start coming out perfectly. One problem you're going to experience probably the most is skin tone, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go on. So the first screen you're going to come to, you're going to go to easports.com/gameface web, or you're going to just Google EA Game Face in using the Google search engine, and it will bring you to this page. You're then going to want to log in with your EA account that's associated to your PlayStation or Xbox Live account. So whatever one you've associated with, you need to use that one, because otherwise it won't be able to download the game faces when you're finished. So I'm going to select to create a male character here, and I'm going to click on next. And then it's going to ask you to create a front image upload a front image and a side image. Now, the thing about this is the side image is optional, but you're going to be looking at the side of your character's face for most of the fight, for nearly all of the fight. So it's important that you get that right. It doesn't always mean that it's going to come out perfect, though. Sometimes adding the side profile can actually make the game face worse, and we might see an example of that actually happening here today. But we're going to go with the side profile just to give you an example. So the first thing you do is you click on upload. I've already put one in here of Tyson Fury, who I'm going to be creating, so that would normally be blank. So I'm going to go change front image, and when you're selecting a photo for these, you want to make sure that there's two things you really need. You need a neutral face of them looking straight at the camera. I mean, a neutral face is they're not grinning, or I know he's kind of smiling there, but you're going to want one that's kind of fairly neutral. So I've picked this one here. So you go ahead and click on open, and it gives you that, and then you're going to go to the side image. If you want to put in a side image, again, it's optional. You're going to go upload side image, and I'm going to select this one here when he faced off against Vladimir Klitschko. And don't worry that this has both of them in it. I can show you how we can change that around in just a little bit. Now, where do I get my photos from? The first thing I want to say is I don't endorse using copyrighted photos. That's completely up to you what you do with that. I have to say that for, I suppose, disclaimer purposes. But yeah, we have to be careful today because there's so many images floating around on the internet that belong to so many different groups of people. So we just have to be careful with what images we're using. So I go to Google Images, and to find a good photo, you want to get a photo that's large in file size, so it has a good resolution, and you're also going to want to get one that has their face looking straight at it. So what I always do is I put in the name of the person, and I type in face after it. So when you do that, you're going to get a picture of their face. Now, some of these are okay. That one isn't too bad, but he's not looking fully at the camera. That one there also isn't too bad. That's quite a good one. But you can see there the resolution isn't too good. It's lower than what we want. So to solve that, we're going to go up to Tools, and we're going to select that it only shows us large images. Now, that is a large image that we saw there a minute ago, but not large enough for what we want. You're also going to want to make sure that, as I said before, they're looking right at the camera, not looking off to one side like he is in most of his photos. He doesn't really make eye contact in very many of them. So the one that I actually found eventually was the one that you saw there a second ago. So I'll show it to you again, was that one. It's down there somewhere. You're going to have to keep looking. This is up to yourself. This is the part where it just takes a bit for you, it takes a while for you to do something you have to do yourself. That mightn't be an awfully bad one. Again, his face isn't 100% looking at the camera. The lighting is a bit funny there, but you might get away with something like that as well. And as you know, you just right click on it, go to save image as, and save it to a folder where you can upload it later on. So once you've found 2 good images or 1 good image, a front and a side, you're good to go with the next step. So you're going to select front and side, and then you're going to press on next. And then what it's going to ask you to do next is to adjust the images, and that's to center them and get them into the right position. So when this decides to load, and as you can see here when I'm scrolling, it's kind of delayed. It's quite laggy. It's not fast. So here we can see he's off to one side. It's not lined up properly. We have to get him inside this here, and we don't need his, if you go here to show the reference, that's all we need. We don't need his chin, we don't need his hair, and we don't need much of his forehead. We just need his face itself, and we need it to be lined up fairly well. You can see that in that example there, the nose isn't even perfectly in the middle. That's okay, we can go with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these here. First of all, I'm going to zoom out a little bit to around there, I think, and then I'm going to rotate it to get it straight. So now we have it straight there. Apologies for that jump cut there if you noticed it. I actually had to go out and change browser, which is actually a classic example of game face in action and how buggy it is. It wouldn't let me drag the face when I came back out. So even though I had both images inserted, I tried everything. I tried clearing the cache, I tried completely closing the browser, shutting down the machine, powering it back on, nothing worked. So I had to actually go ahead and switch over to Mozilla. So maybe for your game faces, for the moment, use Mozilla. The stability of the browser seems to change week to week and which one works the best. So let's get back into this tutorial. So I have Tyson's face here. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to get this lined up with the markers. So again, showing the reference, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to get this kind of lined up like that, and again we just want kind of the middle part of his face. We don't want his chin or his forehead, so it might be kind of difficult here to get that, but I think something like that should be pretty good. Okay, so we've got that lined up pretty good there. We've got his eyes back here again, that's pretty similar to that. We've got the bottom of his chin there. Maybe we could move that up a little bit more to something like that there. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so we're good enough. Skin tone we can leave as it is. Hopefully game face won't mess that up too much. And we can go to the side image. And now the side image is a little bit more tricky, so that's what we're aiming for. So if you look at the image that I have here at the moment, we want to get rid of Lad out of it altogether. So we're going to adjust our zoom, and we're going to actually flip it horizontally because we want Fury on this side. And we're going to drag him into the profile here. And again, looking at our reference to get a rough idea, that's sort of what we want, but we want to be zoomed in a bit more. So bringing this over here again. As you can see there, it's bugging on me there again a little bit. It's going a bit slow. And check our marker again. And bring it in a bit closer like that. We kind of just want it touching his mouth and his chin. And I think I'm pretty happy with that overall. It's not going to be perfect. We just want to make sure we don't have any of his hairline in there. Maybe we could zoom in a little bit more. And again, just letting game face catch up here. And we're going to probably do it something like that, I would say. Yeah, it's good enough. So just check that against our reference. And we don't want any of the bottom of his chin in there. So we could probably go in even a bit further. And get it like that. Along like that. And again, check the reference. Yeah, we've not got any of this part of him in there. We've got his forehead all the way back. Maybe I'm going to zoom out a tiny bit there. Like that. Okay, I'm going to go with that. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so again, it's not an exact science. We got to be a bit rough with it as well. So when we're happy with both our images, we're going to go to next. And this is the part that's probably the most important, and this is basically what tells game face where the positioning of the face is. That was just to kind of get our photos lined up. Now this has to be done really accurately, so luckily enough, when we zoom over, when we actually click onto them and start matching them up, it will actually zoom in for us. So I'm going to get the center of his eyes here, and again we're trying to get these as good as possible. There we go. Now this is going to be, place it on the outer curve of the right cheek. So again, it's not an exact science, so I'm going to go for around here, I think. And we're going to want to make sure that both these are kind of on par with each other, that they're lined up at kind of the same point. So there is pretty good, I think. Maybe a bit higher. This is all going to affect the symmetry of the face, so we want to make sure it's as symmetrical as possible. To the outer curve of the nose. Center of the outer curve of the right nostril. Okay, I'll do that. So I'm going to put it there. And same with this one. Outer curve around there. It's a bit higher up maybe for that one. Get it matched up. There we go. The outer part of the mouth, the right corner of the mouth. So his right corner is there. His other right corner is over here. And then it wants the right jaw. So Fury's jaw, he's got a pretty strong jawline, so it's going to be easy enough to see. So it's going to be around there. Harder with the beard, of course. And we're going to get the same one done on this side, like that. And then the center bottom of the chin. So we're going to go there. And again, this is all going to affect the symmetry of the face. I'm pretty happy with that. Side images, same thing again. Corner of the eye. I'm going to speed this up a little bit here now because I want to get this part done. Once you've done all that, we can go to next. And as far as I know, guys, that is the last step. So yeah, it's just going to ask you to confirm. It's going to get you to check all the points again. Do they look okay? They look fine to me. And then we have to click create my game face. Now this is the part that can take a while. And I think this depends on a number of different factors, mainly how fast your internet is. And it can take a little bit of time. So there we go. That's what it's given us. I'm pretty happy with that. Now, if that looks horrible and muddy and, you know, not particularly good, don't worry too much about it. That's just how it comes out. That's just basically putting it on this sort of mannequin head. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to adjust. We can adjust the images or we can save the game face. We're going to go save game face. And it's going to basically keep that game face and lock it in for us. And then we can make the adjustments to it afterwards. If we clicked on adjust images, that's different. That's if we wanted to actually change the pictures and change the coloring of them and so on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to edit. And I'm going to just change a few things in terms of the actual proportions of the face. So what I do with this is I bring back up my photo of Fury here. And I'm going to drag this to one side of the screen. And I'm going to drag Mozilla to the other side. Where is it? Here we go. And make this a bit smaller so Fury's face is actually coming in. See, this is where it gets fiddly. Or it gets kind of difficult to... Okay, so looking at them side by side, that's pretty good. I think Fury's face in that photo was a little bit more slender. So I'm just going to go to edit face shape. And I'm going to change the face width down a little bit. No, I'm not. I'm going to keep that at the top. I'm going to change the face fullness. So I'm going to bring it down ever so slightly to that. I think that's a little bit better now. Let me just drag it up a little bit more. There, I'm happy enough with that. Face height, that's all pretty good, I think. I think it's a little bit better. And I'm pretty happy with all that. And you can change the eye color, you can edit the hair. I wouldn't change any of these. These can all be edited in the actual game itself. You can put facial hair on them, but it's mainly just editing the face shape. So when you're happy enough with that, you go ahead and click on save. And that will lock in the changes to the face fullness. And that's it. You've done everything you need to do on the computer end. The next step now will be going on to the actual Xbox, downloading the game face and making the changes yourself. So I'm going to cut ahead to the Xbox. I'll see you in a minute. And as I said, we're going to go through what you're going to do to basically finalize the face and to see what it's going to look like in the game itself. Okay guys, now that we're actually in the game, we're going to go over to create a fighter. We're going to select the gender of the fighter that we want and the weight division. We're going to select what type of fighter we want. And then when we load up, I'll let you fill the information in yourself. Whatever character you're creating, you can put into the general info. I'm going to go straight to appearance. We're going to go to head. We're going to go to game face. And we're going to go ahead and download the game face and import it into the game. Now, when it shows up, it's not going to look 100%. That looks okay. From the front, it definitely looks very similar to Fury, but we do need to tweak it. So we're going to go to sculpt. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to increase the protrusion of the head to around 60, just to get a bit more, protrusion. And they're normally quite flat, the faces. And I'm also going to bring down the height, or the size rather, by 10 just to 40 because, we don't want the face looking overly big on the head. We're also going to straight away fix his eyes. Now what I find is in a lot of photos, the eyes can be very kind of dopey or kind of slanted looking, where they look like they're half asleep, and that's definitely the case here. So go to shape and increase this to 100, and what that's going to do is open up the eyes and basically widen out the eyes on the character, which is what we want. Separation is fine. If you hover over each one, it's going to show you the area that you're changing, which is quite handy. Cheeks, I'm also going to show you something else. When you create a game face, it's also going to make the cheeks quite bulky. So what you can do is you can decrease the bulk, and I'm going to decrease mine to 30. And I would also recommend here for Fury, so we've got 31 for that. I would also recommend going to decreasing the width a little bit as well, just to slim out his face a bit more. That's a little bit better. And again, you can make more, you can put more onto that if you want. I'm also going to fiddle with his chin and nose a little bit, so I'm going to bring it to the side. Now I feel his nose and chin should be protruding a lot more, because Fury particularly has quite a prominent chin. So we're going to head over to chin, and we're going to increase the protrusion to 60. Now when you increase the chin protrusion, you're also going to want to fiddle with the width as well, and I feel I'm going to increase that to 60 as well. And you can try trimming it back. I think Fury matching him up with a 60 and 60 is pretty good. The height, I'm going to add a small bit of height to it, and when I do that, you're going to have to protrude it a little bit more, so we're going to bring it to 65 on the protrusion. And again, you can spend longer doing this if you want. His nose is the other area I want to fix, so I'm going to bring him to the side profile again. I'm straight away going to protrude the nose out to 60, and I'm going to bring the tip protrusion only out to 55. See how it looks. Tip protrusion, let's bring this out to around here. Now tip position, I'm going to bring that back to 50. I got confused there with tip protrusion. So again, I'm happy enough with that for the moment. You could spend longer. The side of his face still isn't looking 100%, but it's only going to take a lot of time for you to get that right. Now I'm going to go to his cheeks again and just decrease the bulk a little bit more. That's starting to look a bit, because he's got quite an angular face. Even when he had the weight on, you know, he's quite angular. Now again, his body shape isn't looking right at the moment, but I'm going to go ahead and show you how to fix that now. So again, I have the photo of Fury up on my laptop here beside me for reference whilst I'm doing this tutorial, and that helps me see, well, what is the photo like that I took off the internet, and how does it compare to the game face that I'm making at the moment. That's what you need to be doing as well. You need to be making sure that you're checking your reference image with the game face at all times. Now I don't have all day, so I'm going to be happy enough with that for the moment. The side profile is okay, it could probably be better, but I'm going to go back out of that. And now you want to go ahead and change his facial hair. Now I would leave him bald, because the stubble options that are here are really not good. So what I mean by that is there are some options to give him some, you know, hair stubble on his head that he hasn't shaved it off, but it doesn't look natural. It doesn't look right. Fury has got a receding hairline. He's bald. So we need to reflect that. So I think this is the best model for that. For the facial hair, again, we're kind of stuck. It's either one way or the other, especially because the image that we got off the photo, he has some facial hair in it, but I think what we should do is go full training Fury. When he's actually training for fights, he grows that big beard. So go up to hair. I'm going to go to facial hair. We're going to first of all change the color and set it to that reddy color there, because he has got sort of gingery reddy hair. Then we're going to go to style, and I'm going to go with this beard here. And that is the best fit for Fury in my opinion, and the color is going to show up a little bit better. It looks a bit dark there at the moment, but it's going to show up better when you actually get into the game. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I'm happy enough with it. Again, you can tweak things. You could also, I don't think it lets you, yeah, it doesn't let you tweak his eyebrows. His body hair can be changed as well. The last thing I'm going to show you is his body shape. Now the body shape that I would go for is the second last option here. You could, if you wanted to do a unfit Fury, you could go for the slightly bigger bigger shape, but I'm going to go for this one, slim him down a little bit. Again, it's not 100%. He's not normally that toned. He doesn't have that muscle tone, but it's the best body shape that we have. Anything after that, it's going to start to look more ripped, and Fury is never ripped. It's not his tendency to be ripped. So that's the closest I think that we can get to for him. And that's pretty much it, guys. I'm going to leave it there. If you have any questions about making other characters, follow that guide as closely as possible. Again, I'm not saying this is 100% perfect Fury. It's about as close as we're going to get based on the image that we had and based on the amount of time that I had. If you have any questions, leave them down below. Just leave me some feedback as well. I'd like to receive some feedback on what you thought about this, and I can do more characters, or I can just show off some more of the characters that I've made. That's pretty much it, guys. I'll talk to you in the next video. Thanks for watching.